Alright, this is my Martian Tower Garden, my aqua sprout aquaponics, and my setup for the Mr. Stacky hydroponics that I intend to put together. I also have an aero garden. I wanted to tell you why I would not use this tower indoors. One, it is very, very noisy. You can hear the pump going right now, and I need to run the pump about every hour between 5 and 10 o'clock, or 5 and 8 o'clock, for about 15 minutes every hour, and then a couple of times in the night. The reason I try to decrease the number of times I run it at night is because I have had major water leakage problems. Yesterday I got up and there was a big puddle, and you can see today that the water is dripping out of the system through one of the potholes, and that's not a big deal except when you get a flood. So the grow lights, I don't think, were designed to work well for this system because it was an afterthought. They had a grow light system that attaches to the top of the unit and hangs out and is not adjustable. For something like this, you really need to have adjustable lights, because the lights should be kept about 4 inches away from the plants, and as the plants get larger, they need to be moved. So for $649, and I thought I was getting a great deal with the potential of growing 80 pods at a time. Well, I had to buy a new pump because the pump that came with it didn't have suction cups and made a lot of noise. I had to buy a new timer because I needed it to turn off and on more than 8 times a day. I ended up buying a air pump and air stones because the root system was not smelling very good, so I wanted more air in this system. And then I did have already this room divider frame, which would cost you about $110 to $180. So putting it on this allows me to move the glow lights to and from the plants. But unfortunately, the wiring of the glow lights that came with it doesn't allow me to get it completely around the system. I took down 2 layers and decided not to grow on one side of the unit. The problem with this unit also is that the reservoir is very inaccessible. You have to take everything off in order to get to the reservoir, and you do run into problems. I did have one time where the pipe came loose because the new pump didn't quite fit the old, or the tubing system, and I had duct taped it, and the duct tape came loose. So I end up, when I bought the air stone, making a bigger hole so that I could actually put my hand in and reach in, so that was helpful. So again, the reason you have to be able to go into the top is to be able to adjust the irrigation system. The irrigation system sometimes shifts. It's only held in by 4 wires. And if the water doesn't get to the plants evenly, the roots won't get watered, and you'll have wilted plants, which is what happened with me. So I frequently go up in here to check and make sure that everything is getting watered and that the spouts, the holes, are not clogged with nutrients. Debris, which also happens. I've had to go in there and take a little stick and open them up. And I just want you to also note the quantity and the health of the root system here. I don't know if you can see very well, but they are not really robust. But in spite of it, I have some really delicious lettuce. I've had a couple of big, huge lettuce salads in the recent days, and I will continue to do that. So that's the main reason I would not use this for indoors. Small reservoir that is hard to get to, leakage that would ruin your floor. I had one major flood. It is very noisy when it's on. I turn it off when we have company. I turn it off when we watch TV. The aquaponics that I have is really fun. I just have 1 fish in it. The plants are not doing really well because we had a power outage here in Seattle last week, and I forgot to turn it back on, and the flood and drain didn't do very well. Here's my AeroGarden. It is an expensive unit as well, about $649, but I got everything I needed. Seeds to start, healthy looking pods, guaranteed to germinate. They'll send you a new pod after 2 weeks if it doesn't germinate. I just have around it my micro sprouter, a bottle of water. Actually, I keep about 4 bottles of water. As you can see, the reservoir in this thing is very small, about 2.5 gallons, I think, per 12 pods. So I am adding water to it before the computerized program tells me to, because I just don't want it to dry out. Even though it's aeroponics and hydroponics, the roots are partly out of the water. So as you can see, the root system is pretty healthy, and you can hear the water, and that is about as loud as it gets. So like I said, I added water yesterday, about 1 liter, and I'll do that again today. And I also will be thinning everything out again and adding some more nutrients. So this system is very easy to access the reservoir. There's no leakage problem. The sound is low. The lights are very convenient. Goes up and down with the with that, and so you can see that. I have started these tomato plants from 4 pods. I thinned them out, put them in my own pods, and I'm hoping to move some of them outside this spring, or at least have 2 growing as tall as this unit would sustain. So, like I said, I keep lots of water around, and not on the table, but anyway, so I start out by using my micro sprouter, and here I have some radish seeds going, and I sometimes just put like 4 or 5 beans in, and then I get those started, and once they get big enough, I transfer them into pods. This is actually a used pod, but you can buy all this stuff from AeroGarden, and I just put it in. This has only been in here for about 2 days, and you can see that it is already starting to root. This little system is not going to sustain much, and so that's why I use it just for as a stepping stone to the next step. And here we have some roots growing. This is one of my unsuccessful bean plants. The other ones have already been transferred to the Martian Tower. This one has not been doing very well. I don't know why, but you know, you can't win them all. So there you have it. That's my system, and like I said, I'm going to be making myself another Mr. Stacky hydroponic system, and it will cost me about 1/3 of the price of buying one, and I think it'll be better made for indoor use than the Martian Garden Tower. Again, the Martian Tower Garden is a non-computerized system, so if you're low tech, it's great. But none of these systems are without work. And so you just get this idea that, oh, you get at home and all you have to do is this. But I would say the AeroGarden is less work than the Martian Tower Garden. And I think once I move that system outside and the leakage and the water flooding problems aren't an issue, I'll be much happier with it. But for indoor use, I would never use the Martian